Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Today I want to talk to you about footsteps. I very much enjoy taking walks, especially out in the middle of nature, I guess. I mean, in a certain sense, everything is nature, isn't it? But footsteps, and particularly how they can be wonderful symbols, not just the steps that we take, but the way that we walk can so deeply represent how we live, or how we could live. If you just take a look at your own footsteps, heck, you could take a look at mine. One foot after the other. There's actually a lot happening. It's something that we're so used to that walking is just a basic part of life. Walking from the bedroom to the bathroom, from the bathroom to the kitchen, from the kitchen to the garage or to the car. From your car to whatever place you're going. For those of us who still get out. But despite how commonplace and simple walking seems to be, it's actually not. It's a complex set of movements. You got to make sure you pick your feet up high enough so that they don't drag on the ground or they don't hit anything if there's a section of sidewalk that's raised a little bit too high, or if there's something that's fallen on the ground in front of you that you need to step over. You've got to position it, not just in terms of where it lands, but when it lands, so that you don't go off balance, so that you keep the same pace or momentum that you had. It's actually a process that requires a lot of practice and fine-tuning. It's no wonder that babies struggle with it for months at a time. Walking is a hard thing to do. Just because everyone's good at it, or nearly everyone's good at it, and it doesn't really change that. Got some people up ahead. I'm going to turn around. And we can look at footsteps symbolically a number of different ways. We could say that, if you're trying to get somewhere, you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going until you reach your destination. But we could also extract more lessons from the process of walking, from what footsteps are and how they work. For instance, that your left and right legs are both opposites and companions to each other. I mean, your left foot isn't going to fit in your right shoe. They're not shaped the same way. And another thing is that, when you move your feet, placing them one in front of the other, you're actually not placing them to keep full balance. Like, you can't stay, if you're walking normally, you can't stay on just one of those feet. If you do, you're either going to tend to fall, or you're going to have to do some fancy compensating to keep yourself from losing balance. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the literal example first. Okay, if I'm walking, I place my left foot slightly to the left of my center of gravity, so that when I'm on it, I tend to want to lean a little bit to the right. And that's where my right foot comes in. I place my right foot to the right of my center of gravity, so that when I'm on it, I tend to want to lean a little bit to the left. And so it goes with our spiritual lives as well. We have all these parts of ourselves that we use to move things forward. We have our ambition. We have our faith, which is an incredibly integral part of human life, regardless of religious implications. Although I am devoutly religious myself. We have planning. We have commitment. We have imagination and creativity. All these different aspects of ourselves that we use to move forward. But none of them works when you use it all by itself. Creativity can only solve some of your problems, will only get you so far by itself. It must have an opposite and a companion. Of course, if each of those aspects I named were a leg, you'd be pretty weird looking. But no matter what set of qualities or skills or attributes that it is we're talking about, each of them has their own purpose, their own role, and none of them works all by the lonesome. They all require something to complement them and balance them. Let's go back to the feet. So I was talking about the feet, your footsteps being a little bit unstable, the left causing you to fall toward the right a little bit, and then lean back toward the left, and so forth. If I actually wanted to just come to a complete stop, I can't take a normal step like I would to keep going. I've got to find my center and then place one foot farther out in front of me. Place it down, right down the middle, and then use it to stop myself. And then staying on that one foot takes more effort. A lot more effort. Matter of fact, it's not going to be long before I start getting tired. And how about that? When we look at the different aspects of ourselves that we use to move ourselves forward in our goals and in just day-to-day life, the things that tend to make us the most tired are the ones that we get stuck on, like standing on that one leg. I mean, we do want to stay upright, but we keep pouring all that energy into just the one leg. Whether it's trying to use our creativity to solve problems, or whether it's trying to be responsible or trying to get away from responsibility, trying to rise above our circumstances, or perhaps even just to accept them. All of those are valid. All of those have their own place. But you can't stick with just one. Not unless you want to wear yourself out. So maybe look at where you feel most tired in your life. The things that seem to be the hardest to keep up. Maybe you need to put the other leg down. Maybe you need to take whatever that is, whatever it is that you are feeling so worn out about, and find an opposite and a companion for that in your life. It's already there, but it might be underused, and it might even be undervalued. But if you can find a way to use all the different parts of yourself and take one step with each of them, trade off, moving back and forth, you can use unstable steps to create a stable gait forward. Thanks for spending your time with me today. It's good to have you. See you next time.